Now let us go to question 1b. Question 1b says, discuss the limitations which must be kept in mind while evaluating the financial statements. So, what are the limitations of accounting, or what are the limitations while evaluating your financial statements? There are quite a few limitations. Let us look into the suggested answer. Now, here we have limitations which must be kept in mind while evaluating the financial statement are as follows. The factors which may be relevant in assessing the worth of an enterprise don't find place in accounts as they cannot be measured in terms of money. Only those items which are measured in terms of money are recorded. Items which cannot be measured in terms of money are not recorded. So this could be one of the limitation of accounting, or one of the limitations while you're evaluating your financial statements. Next, balance sheet is prepared on a particular day and it shows the data of a past date, but investors are interested to know about what is going to happen in the future. But when you are preparing the balance sheet, you are preparing it as on a past date. So balance sheet shows the position of a business on the day of its preparation and not on future data, while users of accounts are more interested in knowing the position of the business in the near future and also in the long run, and not for a past date. So balance sheet or accounting gives us past data and not future data. Accounting ignores changes in money factors. So accounting is done on historical cost basis. Whatever is there in your financial statements are on historical cost, that is the cost at the time of acquisition, and you do not change the value in your books as and when the market price changes. So you are not considering changes in money factors. One of the limitations of accounting again. There are occasions when accounting principles conflict each other. Now, could you give me an example of accounting principles conflicting each other? Materiality concept says material items should be appropriately disclosed. Full disclosure says all items should be appropriately disclosed. So two principles conflicting each other. So this could be one of your limitation of accounting. Next, certain accounting estimates depends on the personal judgment of the accountant. Example again, useful life of the asset. I could say that the useful life is 10 years. Someone else could say that the useful life is 20 years. And now, because there is a personal judgment involved, your depreciation calculation changes. So, personal judgment in estimates is a limitation of your accounting. Coming to the last point, different accounting policies exist for the same item, adding to the probability of manipulations. Example, valuation of inventory, you have so many methods: FIFO method, LIFO method, average method, weighted average method. Under depreciation, we have straight line method, written down value method, machine hour method, production unit method. So there are different accounting policies for the same item. Now, I might choose the policy which is going to give me benefit, or I might choose the policy depending on the manipulation intended. One of the limitations of accounting. Theory question could be answered. Coming to question number 1C, the following errors were committed by the accountant of Hariom Toys. So there are a few errors in the accounts. There are two errors given to us. How would you rectify the errors, assuming that they were detected before preparation of trial balance? They were detected after preparation of trial balance, but before preparing final accounts, the difference was taken into suspense account. They were detected after preparing the financial account, after preparing the financial statements. So there are three stages where you can detect and rectify your error. One is before trial balance, as given here. The second one after trial balance but before financial statements, and the third one is after financial statements or after final accounts. Okay, now they're asking us to rectify in all the three stages. If the same error has been identified in all the three stages, let us look into the error. What are the steps for rectifying? The first step, check what is the correct entry. Second step, see what has wrongly been accounted. And the third step, give the rectification. Okay, let us see the first error. Purchase of rupees 1620 from Anupam and Co. passed through sales daybook for rupees 1260. There are two errors here. One, the transaction is a purchase from Anupam and they've recorded it in the sales daybook. So they have recorded a purchase as a sale. Also, the amount of purchases is 1620, but they've recorded in the sale book as 1260. So both your account has been wrongly recorded and the amount has been wrongly recorded. Let me go to the suggested answer. Purchase of rupees 1620 wrongly recorded in the sales book as 1260. What are we going to do? Now, first we see the correct entry. The correct entry says purchase account data to Anupam account 1620. They have wrongly recorded in the sales book. So they would have recorded Anupam to sales 1260, 1260. I've told you, whenever you get a question on rectification, try to analyze what has been over debit or under debit, over credit or under credit. Let me see. Purchase account should be debited with 1620 rupees. Has it been debited? No, sir. Purchase account is under debited. What about sales account? Sales account should not be recorded, but they have recorded a sale. They have credited the sales account. So can I say it is over credited? Yes, sir. Now, how do I rectify these accounts, sir? An under debit of 1620 rupees will be debited. An over credit of 1260 rupees will also be debited. And then what is happening to Anupam account? Anupam account should be credited with rupees 1620. They have not credited, so I'm saying it is under credited. Anupam account has been debited with 1260, so I'm saying it is over debited. Now to give the rectification, first I'm supposed to cancel this wrong effect of 1260 rupees, and I'm supposed to record a credit of 1620 rupees. So therefore Anupam account will be credited with 1620 plus 1260, a total of 2880. First to cancel the wrong effect and then to record the right effect. Therefore, your rectification entry is going to be sales account debtor 1260, purchase account debtor 1620, to Anupam account 2880. Now, if I look into this entry, there is no suspense account involved. If there is no suspense account involved, can I say the same entry is going to continue even after trial balance? Yes, again, after trial balance as well, your entry for rectification is going to be sales account debtor, purchase account debtor, to Anupam account, the similar amounts that we have recorded. What about after financial statements? After financial statements, for rectification of any error, we need to check if there are any nominal accounts in our rectification entry. What are nominal accounts? Entries or accounts pertaining to incomes and expenses are called as nominal accounts. So in our rectification entry, which are the nominal accounts here? Sales is a nominal account, purchase is a nominal account. So instead of sales and purchases, we will use profit and loss adjustment account. So here I will say profit and loss adjustment account that are total of 2880, to Anupam account 2880. This rectifies our first error in all the three stages: before trial balance, after trial balance, and after financial statements. Okay, coming to the second error. Credit sale of rupees 1600 to Sony was posted to the credit of their account. Credit sale to Sony was posted to the credit of their account. Okay, what is the correct entry? Credit sale to Sony. Can I say Sony account debtor to sales? They have credited Sony's account. Sony is a debtor. Her account should have been debited, but they have credited her account. So can I say this is a one-sided error? Yes. Now, how are we going to rectify the error? This is a one-sided error. Sony account is credited instead of being debited. Amount posted to the wrong side, and therefore, while rectifying the account, double amount will be taken. Why do we take double amount? One to cancel the wrong effect and one to record the right effect. Okay, sir. So what is our entry? Before trial balance, one-sided error. You will not have a journal entry. Instead, you will have only a statement which you will be writing. Debit Sony's account with 3200. Double the amount of the sales. Your sales was 1600, so double the amount, 3200 will be debited. Now, because this is a one-sided error, after trial balance, suspense account is going to exist. You credited Sony's account, that means you did not debit anything. Suspense account will be sitting as a debit balance. To rectify, I am supposed to credit suspense account. So the journal entry that I'm going to pass after trial balance is going to be Sony account debtor 3200, to suspense account 3200. Coming to after financial statements or after final accounts, you need to check if there are any nominal accounts in our rectification entry. Sony is a personal account, suspense account unknown. We do not know the nature of suspense account because it is an error. If we knew the error, we would have not made the error. Suspense account means unknown. So the nature of suspense account is always unknown. Sony account, like I said, it's a personal account. There are no any nominal accounts. So again, after financial statements, you will say Sony account debtor 3200, to suspense account 3200. So this was our question number one. Quite a simple question, compulsory question, but yeah, quite a simple question. You could solve it. Now, coming to question number two. MSJP Wires Co. purchased a second-hand machinery on 1st January 2017 for rupees 3,20,000. Overhauling and erection charges amounted to rupees 80,000. Another machine was purchased for rupees 1,60,000 on 1st July 2017. On 1st July 2019, the machinery installed on 1st January 2017 was sold for rupees 1,60,000. Another machine amounting to rupees 60,000 was purchased and installed on 30th September 2019. Under the existing practice, the company provides depreciation at 20% per annum on original cost. However, from the year 2020, it decided to adopt WDV method and to charge depreciation at 15% per annum. You are required to prepare machinery account for the years 2017 to 2020. So they have a machine, they have a second machine, then they have a third machine after selling your first machine, and they're asking you to prepare machinery account for all the years. One more point of thing to be noted is first they were following straight line method, 20% on original cost. That means your straight line method, and then from the year 2020, it wants to adopt WDV method. So there is a change of depreciation method. What are we going to do in the answer? Let us look into the answer now. So we have in the books of MSJP Wires Co. machinery account, you have a debit side, you have a credit side. The first transaction takes place on 1st January where we are purchasing the machine. They purchased a second-hand machine on 1st January for rupees 3,20,000 and they paid overhauling and erection charges amounting to rupees 80,000. Now, overhauling and erection charges will be added to the cost of the asset. Why? Because it is incurred to bring the asset to the location, condition of use. Therefore, 80,000 will be added to the cost of the asset. And on 1st January, I'm supposed to debit machinery account with 3,20,000 plus 80,000. So 4 lakh will be debited. I'm going to say 1st January to bank account 3,20,000. This is your purchase of machinery, and then you have two bank account, you have installation and erection charges. Yes sir, 80,000 total debit of 4 lakh rupees in your machinery account on 1st January. Okay, going ahead, in the year 2017 another machine was purchased for rupees 1,60,000. So on 1st July I'm going to record two bank account 1,60,000. Now, there are two machines, one purchased on 1st January and one purchased on 1st July. At the end of the year, I'm supposed to provide depreciation for these two machines. Can you calculate the depreciation? For machine number one, how much is it going to be? 4 lakh worth of machine has been used for the entire year. For machine number two, 1,60,000 worth of machine has been used only from July onwards. Now, the method of depreciation to be followed is 20% on original cost. So I'm going to calculate for the first machine 4 lakh into 20%, which comes up to 80,000. For machine number one, I'm giving your calculations on the top over there. For machine number one, it is 4 lakh into 20%, which is equal to 80,000. And for machine number two, it is 1,60,000 into 20% into 6 by 12. The financial year is January to December, so we will have 6 months, coming up to 16,000, and your total depreciation coming up to 96,000 for the year 2017. Depreciation will be credited in your machinery account, and we have the balance carried down 4 lakh plus 1,60,000 minus 96,000 equal to 4,64,000. Okay, now let us go to the second machine, or the second year rather. In 2018, first I need to bring down my opening balance. So 4,64,000 comes down as your opening balance in the year 2018. In the year 2018, there are no any transactions. So therefore, I'm going to the end of the year and recording depreciation. Depreciation for machine number one, 80,000 rupees. How sir? 4 lakh into 20% for the full year. Machine number two, 32,000. How sir? 1,60,000 into 20%. Sir, in the first year we did 6 by 12 because in the first year it was purchased in the middle of the year. But in 2018, you have used the machine for the full year, so you will provide full year depreciation. So 80,000 plus 32,000 comes up to 1,12,000, and my balance carried down in year 2018 is 4,64,000 minus 1,12,000, coming up to 3,52,000. Now I come to 2019. In 2019, there is sale of fixed asset. They say on 1st July 2019, the machinery installed on 1st January was sold for 1,60,000. So whenever there is sale of machinery, you need to calculate a few things. First thing, depreciation will be provided up to the date of sale. Second, you need to calculate your profit or loss on sale of the fixed asset. Okay, to calculate profit or loss, what are we supposed to see? We are supposed to see the historical cost of the asset, depreciation up to the date of sale, and whatever is the written down value or whatever is the book value of the asset, you compare it to your selling price. Okay, for this, let us make a working note. Now I come down to the working note. Book value of machinery on straight line method for machine 1 and machine 2, they have calculated. They've given you the cost of machinery 4 lakh rupees and machine 2 1,60,000. First, let us see machine 1 because we are selling machine 1 only. Depreciation for 2017 80,000, 4 lakh into 20%. The written down value 3,20,000. Depreciation for 2018 again on original cost 4 lakh into 20%, coming up to 80,000. So 2,40,000 is the written down value. Now depreciation for 2019 for machine 1 is going to be only for 6 months. Why? Because the machine was sold. On what date? The machine was sold on 1st July 2019. Therefore, you are going to give only 6 months depreciation, and your depreciation is going to be 40,000 rupees. Now, what is the written down value of the machine? It is going to be 2 lakh rupees. Now, this 2 lakh rupees I'm going to compare with the selling price. The machine was sold for rupees 1,60,000. The book value of the machine is 2 lakh rupees. It was sold for rupees 1,60,000. Therefore, you have a loss on sale of 40,000 rupees. Your loss on sale will be debited. Your sale proceeds 1,60,000 will be debited in the bank account, and then your written down value of the machine is going to be credited. Let me go to the machinery account. In the year 2019, coming to all the transactions to be recorded one by one. First, I bring down my opening balance, which was nothing but last year's closing balance, 3,52,000 brought down as my opening balance. Next, I'm going to sell the asset on 1st July 2019. I have by bank account, like I told you, the sale proceeds of 1,60,000. I have by profit and loss account, or you could use by loss on sale of fixed asset account. By loss on sale of fixed asset account, which will be ultimately transferred to profit and loss account. So the amount of loss, which is 40,000 as per the working note calculated. And then you're going to give depreciation. They've not given me the date here. So I'm giving the depreciation on 31st 12 2019 itself. Okay, so by depreciation, what is the depreciation on the first machine? 40,000. Then we go ahead to calculate the depreciation for the second machine. But before that, before 31st December, we have purchased another machine. If we see, another machine was purchased for rupees 60,000 and was installed on 30th September. So 30th September, they are installing this machine. So I will say on 30th September, to bank account 60,000 rupees. This is my third machine which has been purchased. Now, if I need to calculate depreciation on the third machine in the year 2019, which method am I following? Straight line method, 20%. So can I say for the third machine, it is going to be 60,000. For this third machine, it is going to be 60,000 into 20% into time period 30th September, October, November, December. So into 3 by 12. 60,000 into 20% into 3 by 12 comes to 3,000. Your depreciation for machine 2 for the full year is 32,000 rupees, which was original cost 1,60,000 into 20%. Your total depreciation for the year 40,000 plus 32,000 plus 3,000 comes to 75,000, and your balance carried down is 3,52,000 plus 60,000 minus 160 minus 40 minus 75,000, coming up to 1,37,000. Now, alternatively, what could be done here in your presentation? Some things could have changed. Your depreciation for machine 1 could be provided on 1,719 itself. On 1,719, if I provide by depreciation 40,000, then your depreciation on 31st December would be 35,000. Alternatively, you could provide a total depreciation of 75,000 on 31st December. Both the methods are giving the same depreciation, only your date of accounting the depreciation is different. Depreciation ultimately goes to your profit and loss account, so no problem on whichever method of presentation you have given. Okay. Now, what is happening further? They say in 2020, it decided to adopt WDV method of depreciation. So if I'm adopting WDV method, I need to check what is the written down value or the book value of each machinery. So there again, our working note would be helpful. Now, like I calculated for machine one, in the same way I'm calculating for machine two. Machine two, the cost of the machine in 2017 was rupees 1,60,000. Depreciation in year 2017 was for 6 months because we purchased the machine in the middle of the year. So 16,000 in 2017, 32,000 in 2018, 32,000 in 2019, giving a written down value of 80,000 rupees for machine 2. Machine 3 was purchased in 2019 and it had a depreciation of 3,000 rupees for your 3 months. Therefore, the written down value is 57,000. Now, I will be giving depreciation in 2020 on these two written down values. So I will say 80,000 plus 57,000 into 0.2, which is coming up to 27,400. How is it 27,400? 80,000 into, no, how much is my rate of depreciation? I don't think it is 0.2. It is 15%. So I'm sorry, it is not 27,400. Your depreciation is 15%. So 80,000 into 0.15 is coming up to 12,000 plus 57,000 into 0.15 coming up to 8,550. Your total depreciation coming up to 20,550. Now this is the depreciation in year 2020. So in year 2020, I say buy depreciation on 31st December 20,550, which is 12,000 and 8,550, 15% of your book value as on 2020. And then 1,37,000 minus 20,550 gives you the balance carried down of 1,16,450 on 31st December. Since they've asked us to prepare machinery account for 4 years or up to 2020, I'm preparing it up to 2020. Again, simple calculation points to be kept in mind. Depreciation will be provided from the year purchased or from the date of purchase up to the date of sale. Profit or loss on sale of machinery will be recorded. Installation and any expense incurred to bring the asset to the location condition of use will be added to the asset. If there are any repairs will not be added to the asset. These were few points to be kept in mind for this particular question.